What's a stupid life hack that actually worked out? Story 1. Moved to another state and wanted to attend the state university. You had to live in state for a year before they would consider you a resident. The tuition was a lot more for non-residents. I read the fine print and it said if you own a business you would be considered a resident immediately. I got a business license for my new business, Green Thumbs Landscaping Company, mowed my neighbor's lawns and saved a ton. Story 2. Okay, this might sound silly. I call myself baby girl in my head. Especially if I feel like berating myself. Come on baby girl, it's time for bed, long day tomorrow versus come on dumbass, get off your phone and go to bed. It also lets me feel more genuine cause I can say it in a head shaking way, oh baby girl why did we do that, versus saying something to myself that I don't really believe, and just lets me frame it in a tone like I would to a friend or someone I care about dearly. The rest of the sentence coming out nicer just kind of happens naturally if I start with baby girl. Story 3. I have a group chat with a couple close friends and we have all been guilty at different times of trash talking ourselves, not each other, in the chat. Just stuff like you wouldn't believe what an idiot I was today, or OMG, I'm such a dickhead, or God I'm so fat at the moment, I've been so lazy and awful, when in reality it's not about laziness, it could be illness or depression or the weather is shit or the kids have overrun everything. I realized that often we hold such a negative mindset about ourselves and words are powerful, so I instigated a new rule in our group chat, no negative comments like that. It's worked so well. Every now and then one of us will slip, and instead of letting her get away with it, we will jump on the person saying shit about themselves. Excuse me, that is my friend you are talking about right now, she is not useless, she's been working damned hard and I am proud of her, so don't you shit talk her please. She deserves better. I have noticed that we are all starting to believe in ourselves more simply because we aren't using that negative language towards ourselves. Being one's own cheerleader is a massive mindset swing and has nothing but good consequences. Story 4. Positive self-talk really works. I fix things for a living, and whenever I complete a dicey repair and it actually fixed the problem, I say, out loud, name, you did it. You are a genius. You are so cool. Feels good to hear. Story 5. This is something that stuck with me during childhood. My parents kept a decently clean/tidy but lived in house, and with 2 kids there was always plenty of stuff everywhere. I distinctively recall coming home from a long trip with my dad and sister, arriving home to my mom, who returned ahead of us due to work, and a spanking clean house. It was so refreshing it has stuck with me since. Story 6. My wife and I had to move in with her parents for a bit around the time my first child was born and they drove me insane. They are your typical heavily involved Nigerian grandparents. Was seeing a therapist and she suggested I convert judgment into curiosity. As in, don't be quick to get angry about things they do, like having an opinion about every possible thing, particularly around our baby. But instead try to think about where this behavior comes from. Turns out my mother-in-law is fucking amazing and we couldn't have done baby and unexpected twins without her. Her love and care for our children is unconditional and she doesn't do it out of obligation. She considers them her kids and it's her job. Pretty lucky in that regard. Story 7. When you're trying to remember someone's name, think of a stupid mnemonic. Even if it doesn't make sense. I once met a guy named Lance, and I remembered he was Lance with the pants, even though there was nothing remarkable about his pants. Story 8. You know how when you're thinking about buying a certain type of car, you start to see that type of car everywhere? That's because your brain tries to show you what you're focused on. So, if you focus on what you're grateful for, you'll tend to see more things to be grateful for. It's a process, but consciously focusing on the positives will make you see more positive things. It won't make more positive things happen, but you won't pay as much attention to the small negatives. Your brain tends to plod along in the direction you last consciously pointed it. Aim true. Story 9. I used to get ingrown toenails over and over. Doc would remove and promise they wouldn't come back, but they always did. Until I was at a family Christmas gathering and talking to a distant uncle I hadn't seen in years. I was telling him my situation. He told me to clip a little V into the center of my big toenail and I wouldn't get any more ingrown. It fucking worked. Tried it and haven't had one for over 25 years. My best guess on why it works is that the nail spends is growing energy on filling in the V instead of growing down into the side of my toes. Hopefully a smarty pants can tell me the actual reason it works. Story 10. Be able to do something a little bit extra and different if you truly want something. Show up early. Ask questions. Show that extra little bit of interest. You want something? Just ask. That'll differentiate you from 80% of people. This was my trick in college and now working in that field. I'm not particularly bright, but what I lack in straight intelligence I make up for in tenacity and curiosity and interest. It has made all the difference in my people skills and overall knowledge about things. People way smarter than me seem dim when they don't seem to care about the topic/person. Story 11. Everyone knows just how many companies are attempting to use subscription service models. Well, just about every company that does will give you a discount if you attempt to cancel your subscription. SiriusXM is $24 per month. When I went to cancel, they lowered it to $6 per month for 1 year. HBO Max is $17 per month. Went to cancel, they dropped it to $8 per month. Netflix $15.50 per month. Dropped down to $11 per month. Gym went from $30 per month down to $15 per month. That's like $50 per month for me just for making a couple of phone calls. These are promotional rates that they give you. They will automatically go back to your old rates after a certain amount of time. All you have to do is make a note in your phone letting you know that your promotional deal is about to be over and call again. Story 12. Stop eating sugar. Watch The Sopranos on a treadmill going 3.6 to 4.0, fast walk, for 60 to 90 minutes a day, lose 15 to 20 pounds a month and more if you're over like 240, 250. It's not even tiring and you just end up at like down 40 to 50 pounds after 3 months. You're welcome. Story 13. A positive mindset. Visualizing my future life, even if it's just the day ahead. Expressing gratitude, in action or words/journaling, to someone or to myself. Believing in abundance. Believing things will happen at the right time. Bonus, being aware of what energy I bring into a room when entering it. It has really helped with anxiety and limiting beliefs. It's a daily investment. Like going to a mental gym for my mental health. Story 14. Stop drinking after 30 years by just literally stopping. That was it. Was inconvenient and weird a few days, but coming on 4 years now. Quit smoking cold turkey in 1994, same thing. Just stopped and dealt with however it felt. The stop and deal method, I call it. Story 15. Tie the ends of your floss together so it's a loop. It's way easier to hold onto and maneuver versus just winding around your fingers. If you burn yourself on the iron, for example, never run the area under the cold tap as per the normal approach. This instantly causes a blister, pain, and obvious discomfort. If you immediately smear the affected area with Aquafresh toothpaste and leave it for 10 to 20 seconds before you touch it, you will feel no pain, no blister, and no mark on the skin. I used to carry a small tube permanently in my daughter's changing bag when she was young, just in case. When I was shown this, I was in the company of a chap who developed anti-rejection drugs for transplant recipients, and he had absolutely no idea why it worked, but it does. Story 16. For college, these were my 3 moving hacks, but can be applied to any situation where you have to move. 1. Use as few boxes as possible. Got suitcases? Use them. Duffel bags? Throw some shoes in there. Storage tubs? Great. I even used suit bags to carry clothes and stuffed animals at the same time. 2. Very simple, but just leave your things on the hanger, fold them, and shove them in a suitcase. Saves the trouble of taking them off and putting them on. Just remove from the suitcase and hang. I also saw a good hack elsewhere where you just wrap trash bags on your hanging clothes and tie it off at the top, leaving the hanger hooks poking out. Basically a quick and temporary suit bag. And if they don't rip, you can use them at your new place immediately or just have them around to collect any trash from moving. 3. Don't bother with bubble wrap or cardboard for fragile items. Keep them layered between soft things like towels and blankets instead. Prevents waste and saves space when packing. Story 17. Hospital in our town charges ridiculous parking fees. Having to stay for a week can easily cost you hundreds of euro. When you donate blood at that hospital, they'll not only give you a decent case brought and a Coke, but they'll also exchange your parking ticket for one that's already paid/validated. So after staying with my wife for 10 days when our number one son was born, I simply donated blood and picked up my free parking card instead of bankrupting our young family. Story 18. I grill in my barbecue a lot for cooking and would have problems with the food sticking to my barbecue grates. My wife showed me a video of someone rubbing half of a potato on the grill before cooking, with the reason being that the potato starch would make the grates non-stick temporarily. I tried it and was shocked at how well it worked. Perfect grill marks every time with not a single piece of meat getting stuck to the grill. I do it every time I use the barbecue now. Story 19. Oh boy, I don't know if mine is still applicable. But in university, about 20 years ago, a big consulting firm was conducting interviews on campus to recruit. You submit your resume, and if you're selected, they'd invite you in for an in-person interview on campus. I wasn't selected. My dad said, why not just put on a suit and show up and tell them how eager you are for the job? I kinda rolled my eyes but had nothing better to do, so I did. And the interviewer was like, you're not on the list. Oh well, come on and I can squeeze you in. Ended up crushing the interview, then the next one, and eventually got the job offer. Which I didn't end up taking, but that's another story. Story 20. I once read about always trying to carry something out of place when you leave a room. The idea being that it helps balance the migration of stuff only one direction, as well as moves at least a few things where they belong when they're being processed, e.g. laundry. It does actually work. More stuff ends up put away in the time which would probably be spent checking email. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe.